Hi friends, very good evening, and could you please let me know in the chat window if you are able to hear me and see me clearly. Just let me also refresh it and see it on my computer. Let me know in the chat. Yeah, I can hear myself. Cool. Could you please confirm that in the chat window? Everything is clear. Okay, very good, very good. Good. Okay, very good, very good. So we'll wait for a few more minutes and we'll get started, right, in 4 or 5 minutes, right? Good. I hope everybody is locked down, or at least self-imposed lockdown, and staying safe, because the wave is like crazy this time. So please stay safe. That's super duper important. Yeah, the situation is not very good because we have family and colleagues and friends all across India, and things have been fairly bad the last week or two, and we don't think this is going to go over immediately. I think we have at least a couple of months in front of us of similar bad news and terrible situations. So yeah, so let's most importantly, before we get started, it's super duper important to stay safe. Like at my home at least, and many of our teammates, we have recommended them to go into a self-imposed lockdown, even if there is no lockdown imposed by the respective governments. Okay, cool. Okay, so let me answer a few questions. At least thankfully somebody's asking how am I doing. At least I'm okay. My family is okay as of now. So we don't know how things might turn out tomorrow, but as of now we are okay. Okay, so I'll answer a few questions in the next 3 minutes before we jump into the actual session itself at 7 p.m. So how many subjects to be studied parallelly? I think I've answered this question also, Akash, last time. It's better to do one subject at a time, focus on it, do it diligently, and then move to the next subject. But once you finish 2 or 3 subjects, it's always good to revise these 2 or 3 subjects and then go to the next subject. Because if you're doing subjects parallelly, you might, I'm not saying, there is, again, by the way, there is no one right strategy to crack GATE. There are many strategies. You can see it from some of the interviews of toppers last year. There is no one right strategy. But we recommend from our own experiences that it's better to do one subject at a time. So somebody is asking about live sessions. I think if you just see the live session that I did on Saturday, which is the 1st of May, we have given a schedule. So please look at that schedule. We are doing everything as per that schedule. Even today's session is already part of the schedule, right? So just go to the live session that we have done, which is called the Plan of Action and General Q&A, which we did on Saturday evening, 7 p.m. So please check that. There is a Google Doc there with detailed list of all the live sessions till October. That's the first iteration. From October onwards, we'll do the second iteration of live sessions. We haven't fixed the schedule post-October yet. Okay, somebody is saying to conduct some private live sessions. Again, please suggest us topics. And if we think all the students will benefit from it, we'll do it publicly. If we think only course enrolled students will benefit from it, we'll do it privately also. So there's nothing that is blocking us. Please suggest us topics apart from what we've already discussed in the last live session. Okay. Mukul has a very nice question that you're understanding the concept, that Mukul is understanding the concept well, but he's not able to solve problems. I'll come to that. The reason we are doing this live session is because a lot of people in GATE preparation focus too much just on the concepts. They don't practice enough. They don't build that skill of problem solving, which is what you need to actually crack GATE. So we will give you about 7-8 key points that you can keep in mind. Again, it's not going to be a trivial thing. Today, if you're not good at problem solving, tomorrow you won't become brilliant. It's not a switch. It takes time. All of us went through that stage. You will require about 3 to 4 months of consistent effort to improve your general problem solving skill while you're learning concepts. I will cover all of that in detail. It's already 7 p.m. So let's get started. Okay, so I'll start sharing my screen. Just give me a second, please. Okay, so can you please confirm in the chat window? Let me just, can you see my screen now? Just wanted to make sure that it's clear and visible. Can you please confirm in the chat window if you can see my screen? Okay, you can see my screen, right? You'll see a feedback loop now. Okay. Okay, so let's do one thing, folks. Since most of you are here for this specific topic itself, I'll focus on this. I'll spend about 60 odd minutes, maybe 40 to 60 minutes covering a bunch of key points. After that, I will do a general Q&A, the way we always do, right? So let's get started first. This is a very, very important topic. I cannot emphasize this. So how to improve your problem solving skills for GATE, right? Remember, the GATE question paper is all about solving a bunch of problems related to foundational computer science. That's what GATE is all about. It's not about theory. It's not like a standard university exams at some universities where you write detailed answers. It's not that. It actually tests your problem solving skills and CS foundations. Okay. So I'll talk about how to improve this step by step. I'll give you simple to follow, simple strategies and methods, very easy to follow, but they are not trivial. You need to put in effort to implement. I think I've made notes of some 7 or 8 key points in the rest of these notes. I will elaborate each of them with examples. But please note that these 7 steps or 7 suggestions, they are not exhaustive, but they're very simple to follow. They're also easy to follow. They're not rocket science, but you need to put in effort. If you don't put in the effort, all these suggestions are useless. Again, last year, we have not done a similar session, but whenever students requested us, we would give them these suggestions. And this has helped many students, especially the last year. And we have had a lot of students because in our course, right, we have practice tests, right? So suppose you cover a bunch of concepts. After you cover these concepts, we have a practice test, right? So the practice test questions typically are at minimum level, are at medium level hardness. Right? Typically at medium level hardness. Some of them can be tricky, some of them are easy also. But we have had students who scored less than or equal to 30% marks in these practice tests that we have embedded as part of the course structure. But they have followed some of these simple strategies and suggestions that we have made. And from scoring less than 30 marks in practice tests, they have gone on to top 300, some of them even in top 100 ranks in GATE last year. Right? So we thought something like this will benefit everyone, irrespective of whether there are students or not. We thought this will benefit everyone who is preparing for GATE, especially for CS, but also for GATE in any subject actually. Okay, so let's understand the GATE. Again, very, very important key takeaway, problem solving skills, you're not born with them. All of us build these skills over time. Some of us may have built them during our high school days from our 6th to 10th class. Like I've seen some people who are very good problem solvers of aptitude type or mathematics problems in 6th to 10th class. So they've built that effort or they've put in that effort in that period of their life and they've built that problem solving skills, and problem solving skills are transferable. When I say transferable, what do I mean? If you're good at problem solving in one subject or one topic, suppose if you're very good at solving, let's say, aptitude problems, then if you learn the foundations and put in the effort, the same problem solving skills will also help you write code better and solve harder coding problems. The same problem solving skills will also help you get good rank in GATE, right? So problem solving skills themselves are transferable. That's very, very important. And different people, different students build these skills at different times. Some students build it between their 6th and 10th class. Some students build it in their 11th and 12th class when they're preparing for IIT, JEE or other entrance exams. Some students build it during their undergrad days. Some people build it even during their working years. I've seen a lot of people who build these problem solving skills as working professionals. So there is no right time to build these skills, but these skills will require good amount of patience and time from your side. It is not a switch. It's not that today you're not a good problem solver, tomorrow you immediately become a good problem solver. That never happens in the real world. It requires a lot of practice and it requires a concrete strategy and a bunch of simple to follow steps. Again, I'll share some of these I'll share the strategy and ideas in the context of GATE, not in the context of other problem solving tasks. Okay, so just wanted to give that. Anybody can build these problem solving skills with a clean strategy, with tons of practice, most importantly with patience. Okay, so this is a very important thing that I remember from last year live sessions. So last year we did we used to do these weekly live sessions where we would solve problems, right? So one student made this comment. It stuck with me since then. So one student said, I think this was a live session when we were solving some computer network flow problems or something like that. He said, Varma, this GATE question in computer networks Seems like an aptitude problem from our 9th and 10th class, except that to solve this, you need CS concepts. That's what most gate questions are. Most gate questions are simple aptitude problems, but not, see, your typical aptitude, right, that you come across in most competitive exams, including gate, are concepts that you learn from your 6th to 10th class, right? Again, if you're taking CAT aptitude, there might be slightly harder questions, but mostly gate questions are aptitude questions in the context of CS concepts. So if you don't know CS concepts, if you have good aptitude and problem solving skills, you can't crack gate. You need to have the CS concepts, and on top of them, you need to have the basic aptitude of problem solving to crack gate questions. That's what, it's a very, very true definition. I mean, I really like this definition that one of our students taught me in a live session very similar to this. Okay, cool. Now, let me tell you where GATE stands in relation to other competitive exams so that you know where GATE is coming from. Okay, so E is for easy, M is for medium, H is for hard, VH is for very hard. So GATE questions typically in the large spectrum of questions that you typically encounter from a pure problem solving perspective typically are easy or medium. You do not see hard questions or very hard questions in GATE. Okay, so you don't see them. You might see some tricky questions, but not hard questions. Hard questions can be, again, GATE format itself is not tuned very much for hard questions. Okay, and the challenge with GATE is the vastness of syllabus. It's a vast syllabus, 13-14 subjects depending on how you count it. You will see mostly easy and medium questions. Nowadays, over the last 2 to 3 years, you're seeing more medium questions with some trickiness, primarily to force you into committing silly mistakes. Okay, you do not see hard and very hard. Exceptionally, maybe less than 5% of questions in the total GATE in the last 20 years can be treated as hard. Very hard, you will never see it anyway. Less than 5%. And you don't have to worry about them, realistically speaking, because most people can't solve it. Okay, so this is where GATE stands. Now, if you look at other competitive exams and other things, like for example, if you take CAT, which is the entrance exam to get into MBA programs at IIMs and other top universities, those questions tend to be medium to hard. You see very few easy questions. You do not see very hard questions also in CAT, mostly medium to hard. Okay, but in CAT, you'll again see tricky questions because the examiner is trying to trap you into making silly mistakes. And the advantage in CAT is the syllabus is limited. The syllabus is not as vast as GATE itself is. Similarly, if you take IIT JEE at the 10+2 level, most of the questions, especially in the advanced exam, in the second exam, mostly fall in the medium to hard range. They can be tricky, but the syllabus is limited. It's just literally 3 subjects, right? Math, physics, chemistry. That's all. Okay. So similarly, if you look at top product-based company interviews, let's say interviews at Microsoft, Amazon, Google, all these companies, you will typically encounter medium level problems and hard level problems. And the syllabus is there also is very limited. It's mostly programming, data structures and algorithms. That's where 90+% of your questions will come from in top product-based companies, right? So again, I'm just giving you a relative scale of hardness of problems typically that you encounter in GATE. Now, if you go to UPSC, civil services, the civil services exam, you will see a lot of questions which are medium and hard. Again, I've not taken the UPSC civil services exam, but I've seen the math paper. Okay, I've seen the math, the mains paper for math. Most of the questions are medium to hard. There are very few very hard questions. You don't see them. Maybe one question, maybe even less than, maybe a part of a question is hard. But the challenge with UPSC civil services is it's a vast syllabus. That's what is hard. The questions are medium to hard, very few. You don't see many very hard questions also. Now you might say, hey, where do I see actually very hard questions? If you really want to see very hard questions, you should see International Mathematical Olympiad, International Physics Olympiad, etc. I don't know chemistry much, but I've always loved the Math Olympiad and Physics Olympiad and Putnam Prize problems. And those are really hard. I mean, I've spent days to solve some problems from IMO. Okay, solid problems. Similarly, Putnam Prize, other stuff, right? So those are considered very hard. Rest everything is easy, medium and hard range. Now the reason I'm giving you this is because now you know realistically where GATE exam stands in contrast to other exams. Again, some of you may have taken other exams, right? Some of you may have taken CAT, JEE, interviewed at some companies. Some of you may have taken some of these just to give you a sense of where GATE stands. Now here are some concrete strategies that I wanted to tell you. So the key takeaway till now is GATE questions are easy to medium. They're not hard. The syllabus is vast. Again, the key takeaway you should remember. The key takeaway here is GATE is easy to medium, vast syllabus, some tricky questions. That's all. Okay. Please don't say GATE has hard or very hard, because then you're doing injustice to other really hard questions from Mathematical Olympiad, etc. Okay, cool. So now coming to GATE itself, let's focus only on GATE in the rest of the discussion. The first suggestion that we will make is please read the question and the options carefully. Like here is a question. I think this is from set 1, GATE 2021 CSE. Okay, this is a very simple question. We have seen some people who have made silly mistakes on these questions because they read min heap. They say worst case. They don't read this part very carefully. Okay, what is the question saying? It says there is a min heap consisting of n elements implemented as an array. What is the worst case time complexity of an optimal algorithm to find the maximum elements in H? People don't read it carefully. People read it in a hurry. So they misread this maximum as minimum. So if you have a min heap, you can get the minimum element in order of one time. So we've seen a lot of people who have done this silly mistake. I think this is set 1 or set 2. I don't recall which set it is, but it's from GATE CS 2021. So we have seen some people who have actually chosen theta 1, right? But the actual answer is theta n. Again, if you know what min heap is, you'll understand the solution to this. Okay. But the reason I'm trying to point to this is because we have seen so many people who have made tons of silly mistakes. And this is one of the most popular type of silly mistake, that they don't read the question thoroughly or the options carefully. Again, you have to read the options more carefully, especially if you have MSQs, multi-select questions, which means more than one option can be correct. Okay, MSQs, you have to double read each of the options. Now, how do we avoid this common mistake? Very simple. The strategy to avoid it is note down all the key points or numbers. For example, you might have seen me do this. Again, you can check out all the problem solving sessions that we have done last year. A good chunk of them are publicly available on our YouTube channel. So you'll see me, I do this a lot because I used to have this problem that I commit a lot of silly mistakes. So one strategy that I personally built for myself, that many of my mentors also, many of the mentors in our team also suggested is, like when I read a question on this computer, I make a note of, I underline all the important things. In the GATE exam, you will not get this marker type thing that you can underline. But in the rough sheet that you get, make a note of all the important points. You can say min heap. Yes, it's asking for the worst case. It has n elements. You're looking for the maximum element. So you can make a list of these key points so that you do not overlook them. This is very, very helpful. So whenever you're solving a problem on your rough paper, make a note of the key points or the key numbers that are presented so that you do not overlook them. Again, silly mistakes like this happen because you're overlooking them. Let me tell you, silly mistakes can be the difference between getting the top 300 ranks and getting in the 1000 plus rank. We have seen so many brilliant students in the last year, the before last year, who have all the potential to get into the top 100 ranks, but their rank ended up to be beyond 1000 because they made silly mistakes like this and they have not worked on it. Now, another strategy is reread the question and the options. If the question seems too trivial, like at GATE, right? Imagine if this question said minimum, then that's a trivial question. Why would GATE ask such a trivial question? Because that's super simple question, right? It's not even an MSQ, it's an MCQ, right? So if you see that a question is too trivial, too simple, or if it's too complex, please reread the question. I mean, we have had students who used to commit a lot of silly mistakes. I think it's there in one of the success story interviews also. So he was doing so many silly mistakes that every question he reads it once and then rereads it mandatory because he wanted to avoid those silly mistakes. So spend 20 to 30 seconds again just to make sure if a question seems too trivial or too complex, please reread the question because most likely you have not read it correctly. And please make a note of all the key points. It's a very simple thing. Again, most of the strategies that I'm going to discuss will seem fairly commonsensical, but people don't do it and that's why they make mistakes. Let me tell you, when I was preparing for GATE a few years, almost a decade ago, more than a decade ago now, I was like I would do so many silly mistakes. And I worked on, like I had good problem solving skills, but my silly mistakes were killing me literally. So I spent a lot of time on minimizing these silly mistakes using these simple strategies. And many of our mentors have improved their own scores by following this simple thing. A lot of our toppers from last year have followed these steps. Okay, so very useful, very helpful, yet very simple. But you need to have the patience. Okay, cool. Second, very, very important thing that I cannot emphasize this is my favorite technique, is please draw diagrams and tables or graphs. Write down or try to represent things that you see in a question in a visual manner. I will give you examples, right? So try to visualize as much as possible, because we humans are visual creatures, right? Whenever there is something that is visual, we grasp it better. That's why in a lot of our teaching also, we try to put things visually in front of you. This is my favorite strategy. Again, lot of solved problems that we have in the course, most of them are solved using this approach, where we try to draw diagrams, tables, whatever is needed, some visual representation, right? It could be like a lot of times we do this. Okay. Again, this strategy works brilliantly well almost for every subject, but more importantly for subjects like COA. Again, a lot of people say, hey, COA is very hard. It's not. The computer organization is not hard. Like if you start drawing diagrams and understanding the concept and solve the problems carefully, you can score 90% marks in COA if you're careful. Okay. Similarly, again, I'll show you some examples, right? You can do it in CN, you can do it in TOC, CD, math, almost every subject you can follow this method. Again, if you want to know more about it, please check the solved problems in the course. I would have applied this because this is my standard tool. This is a tool that I personally use, that a lot of our mentors, when they make notes, this is the tool that they employ every time. Similarly, you can check out our last year live sessions that are publicly, some of them are publicly available on our YouTube channel. Please check them, because you will be able to see how we tackle these questions, how we draw diagrams, tables, all of that stuff. It's a very simple strategy, but it helps you avoid mistakes, helps you get a clarity on the question itself. So let me give you an example. Again, this is a screenshot of a question from COA. Here, look at this. This is me solving it in live last year, right? So we give this problem, we say this is a medium hardness problem, and students spend 3-4 minutes to solve it. Then I solve it. Look at how we try to solve it during the live session. I underline all the key points. That's what I told you. Then I draw this whole memory architecture. I draw the whole thing. Now, when I draw it, I know what is needed, what is being asked. Again, the visual representation, draw. If you start drawing these diagrams, again, what is this? This is a simple memory hierarchy that we have, right? Or sorry, not a memory hierarchy, I'm sorry. This is just a memory organization. You have these 3x8 decoders, and you have some memory chips, and you're constructing a larger memory. The question is very simple. Now, if you watch the videos where we explain everything, again, in the videos also, we try to explain everything visually as much as possible. So all I'm doing here is, given this question, all I'm doing here is, again, this is a medium level question in GATE. I'm trying to translate that into diagram and ask myself what information is being asked for. What is this that I have to fill here? That's it. And I just count it from the diagram. This has two advantages. Whatever numbers you have, you will not be overwhelmed by these numbers and question the moment you translate it into diagrams. Number one. So you will not be overwhelmed. That's very, very important. You will not be overwhelmed, and you will avoid silly mistakes again. Because a lot of students do commit silly mistakes in questions like this because they don't draw the diagrams. And this is a great form of revision. Because now, while solving this question, when you drew this diagram, you're revising all the concepts of typical how do you organize a memory using decoders and smaller memory chips, right? So it has multiple advantages, and this is literally one of my most favorite strategies personally. Also a favorite strategy of a lot of our mentors and teammates. Similarly, look at this. This is a question from combinatorics. Okay, this is also a solved problem in our course videos. There was some question which says there are 6 boys, 7 girls who are sitting in a circle, whatever it is, right? No 2 girls are sitting together. Some question about some circular permutations, if I'm not wrong. I don't remember the question exactly. But when I have this question, I try to draw the diagram. I try to make people sit in a circle. The moment you do this, you can visualize what is being asked and solve it much more clearly. Again, I'm trying to show you problems from various areas. This is like your engineering math. This is from pure systems question. Similarly, there is this question from conditional probability, right? This is again one of our solved problems in the previous live sessions, where again, literally look at this. It says there are some boxes. So I actually draw a physical box here calling P, other box saying Q, how many are there? Then I solve this. It's a simple problem of conditional probability that most people get it incorrectly. But if you solve it carefully, try and visualize things with physical objects, with diagrams, with tables. I mean, the sky is the limit. You can easily solve most of these. Again, you can solve these easily because gate questions are easy to medium hardness. They're not really hard, right? They're not at the mathematical Olympiad or hard questions from CAT or other competitive exams. Okay. So diagrams, tables. The third strategy that I would request you to follow is lot of people, because some problems just require you to know the equation or the mathematical expression across the spectrum, right? And just work it out. Whether it's in engineering maths, whether it's in computer networks, whether it's in other subjects also, right? Across the board. Now here, when you're doing this, try to work backwards. Now, what do I mean when I say work backwards? What I mean is this. When a question is given, right? Fill in the details. That's what I'm saying. So figure out, for example, imagine you have an equation like this. I'm just taking a trivial equation. Suppose A is already given to you. Okay. C is already given to you. Just mark them and say these two variables or these two mathematical expressions or these two functions, whatever it is, right? I know what A is, what C is. What I have to find out is B and D. So just given a mathematical expression, first do this. Finally, the question is saying that you have to compute X. So find out what you have to compute. This is what you have to compute. What is given to you? A is given to you, C is given to you. What do you have? What do you need more? You need B and D. Okay, this is working backwards because you want X now. You're working backwards to determine how to compute X using all the knowns and unknowns. So here B is unknown and D is unknown. Now use other properties and other equations and expressions that you already know to arrive at B directly or indirectly, similarly D indirectly or directly. This is what is called as working backwards from the missing terms. Okay, let me just show you a simple example of this. So this is Bayes' theorem, right? We all know Bayes' theorem. This is a solved, again, this is a screenshot of a problem that we have solved in our solved problems in the course, right? See, this is what needs to be calculated. I write it very clearly. All these pieces of information is given. This is given to us, this is given to us, this is known or given to us. This is what we need to compute. Now, given this, I know how to write it. I know simple Bayes' theorem. So I've written Bayes' theorem and I told myself, okay, which all terms are available, which all terms are not available. Whatever is not available, I'll go figure it out. That's all there is, right? Again, this is a simple example from Bayes' theorem. Again, another example from computer networks. This is actually a solved problem from the last year live sessions. Okay, some question about CSMA by CD. Again, I'm not going into the question itself because some of you may not have covered these concepts. But here, all you need is for CSMA by CD, this is a fundamental inequality. This is something that we understand from first principles in the course. Given this, now the question says that the question gives you some 4 options. It's an MSQ, so you'll have to go through each of them, right? So it talks about bandwidth. Now bandwidth is not readily available here. But now you ask yourself, what is being asked to me is about some minimum frame rate and bandwidth. What are the other equations through which I can get bandwidth? Here is an equation that we already know from which I can get my bandwidth. Plug that in. Right? So here also we are applying the same. Again, these are screenshots of problems that we have solved in the previous live sessions. Right? So if you notice, what is happening here is we are first determining what is known and what is to be computed, and we are trying to fill in. So we know this, this is to be computed. Right? Now these two are unknown. Let's go figure it out. So let's go figure out. Let's use other properties, other equations, right, on how to fill that. That's all there is. Okay, whether it's Bayes' theorem, computer networks, whatever it is. Another very important, I couldn't write, I thought it's nonsensical to write more than 3 veries. Okay, debug your mistakes. This is the time-taking part that most students don't do. That's why their problem-solving skills don't improve. Okay, very important. Whenever you're not able to solve a problem or whenever you commit a mistake in solving a problem, Most likely it is because of these three reasons. One, you have a conceptual gap. You don't know that concept or you've forgotten it. Okay, you probably learnt it earlier, but you've forgotten it. What is the solution? Very simple. Revise, recap, and come back and retackle it. Don't see the answer. Or look at all the solved problems and see which of the solved problems that we already have recorded videos for is very similar to this problem. Okay, so revising the concepts and going through the solved problems with an open mind to debug what you have not understood is the best way to understand what you are lacking and focus on that. Second, lot of people, they know the concept, they're able to tackle it, but they commit silly mistakes. If you're making a silly mistake, please take a notebook and make a note of the silly mistake that you have committed. Just write down what mistake did you do. Did you not read the question carefully? Did you not did you not put in the right expression? Did you not see all the options? Did you mess up the numbers? What is the mistake? Write it down carefully. Okay. The third case, which rarely happens in GATE, very rarely happens in GATE, is you have not seen a similar problem till date. That rarely happens. Okay, because 90% of GATE, more than 90% of GATE questions every year are very similar to questions that are there earlier, which we actually solve as part of solved problems. Completely new, innovative questions, there will be less than 5, maybe 5%, maybe maximum 10%. Rarely happens. If it happens, perfect. You have learned a new thing. That's always good. Okay. So these are the three things that it fall into. So a lot of times, okay, so I'll come to this point. So a lot of times when students struggle with problem solving, they directly go see the solution. That is the worst thing to do. I'll tell you why in just a few minutes. What you should do if you're not able to solve the problem is debug. Spend 5-10 minutes, figure out what you're lacking, go back, revise, or make a note of the silly mistake, or go to the solved problems and see which of the solved problems is very similar to this. Now, note taking of mistakes is very, very important. This has helped a lot of students. Like we have a student whose name is Aditya Ravishankar. You can check out his interview on our channel. I think he got 53 or 54 rank, somewhere in the 50s. He got 0 negative marks to the best of our knowledge in the GATE question paper 2021 because he checked his answer sheet with the official GATE answer sheet. Like just look at this. He got 0 negative marks. That means a lot. Imagine if he got a few negative marks, his rank would have shot from 50 odd rank to 300 odd rank. And he has consistently, diligently worked on making notes of the mistakes and revising them as part of his revision. Again, whatever notes you are making of your mistakes, please make it part of your revision. You should try and revise at the end of every week, at the end of every month, at the end of every quarter. Because at the end of every week, probably you finished a bunch of topics. At the end of every month, you probably finished one subject or maybe two subjects if the subjects are small. At the end of two to 3 months, when I say quarter, I don't exactly mean 3 months. Every 2 to 3 months, you probably finished some 4 or 5 subjects. Try and make it part of your revision. Again, since this is slightly far away from the exam, once you come closer to the exam, we will talk about how to revise faster, how to spend more time with revision and things like that, right? How to revise more often and things like that. That will come to a little later. But at this point of time, with about 8-9 months before the exam, please try to revise everything you're learning weekly, monthly, and quarterly. Simple logic. And when you're revising, please go through the notes of the mistakes also. You cannot run away from your mistakes, and especially silly mistakes. Okay, it is possible to reduce the silly mistakes. We have had a lot of students who just lost anywhere from 0 to, I think, 3 marks. A lot of people who used to commit 10 marks, negative marks also, 10 negative marks or 5 to 10 negative marks, could, using the simple note-taking process, could get their negative marks from 0 to -3. Right? It's possible. You just require to put in the effort. This is very, very important, often overlooked. People try to solve a problem. Like we hear this from a lot of students. Students say, sir, I've solved 5,000 questions and I still didn't get GATE rank. No. So the problem here is this. The reason this happens to some students is this. What a lot of people do is they don't struggle with the question. Okay, let me explain what I mean when I say struggle. What they do is that they read a question, they try it for 5-10 minutes, They try it, they give it a good effort, good time, 5 to 10 minutes, and immediately they don't get the answer, they go read the answer, they go see the answer. Please do not see the solution till you try to crack the problem thrice, because we have time now. I wouldn't suggest this if you are 1 or 2 months before the exam. Since we are at least 9 months away from the exam, this is what, May, June, July, August, September, October, November, December, Jan. Almost 9.5 months before the exam now. Close to 9.5 months. Right now is the time that you have to build your problem solving skills. So when you see a question and if you're not able to solve it, say you attempt it now once. You already attempted it, you're not able to crack it. Give it some time. Maybe suppose you are attempting it in the morning, give it a shot again at the night. Give it few hours break. Let the problem simmer in your head. Let it sit in your head. Let it trouble you in your head. That's okay. Okay. Solve it. Suppose if you're trying to solve this problem at night, leave it, go to sleep. Tomorrow morning again give it a shot. If you're still not able to solve, give 1 or 2 days and again try it. Try it 3 times before you see the solution. It's a very simple process, but it requires discipline. A lot of people don't have this discipline. Okay, those people who claim that they have solved 5,000 questions did not get a gate rank is because they did not struggle with the question and build the problem solving skills. Remember, problems, see, when you're trying to retackle this question or when you're sleeping on a problem, you're constantly exercising your mind. When you go to a gym, right, or when you go for a run, right, if you keep pumping iron and if you keep lifting weights, over time you build muscle. It doesn't happen overnight, right? Similarly, problem solving is also like a muscle building exercise. You try it multiple times, struggle with it, right? Over time, it's not a switch. Over time, you'll see the results in 2, maybe 3 months, sometimes even after 6 months. But don't give up. Don't expect results immediately. I cannot tell this. Think of it like going to a gym or preparing for a marathon run. I know about marathons a little more than gym because I've done it as a youngster. Okay, you do not run your 20 kilometers or 40 kilometers on the first day. You slowly increase. It takes time. It takes years of effort. Okay, and when you're solving the problem, because you're tackling it thrice, right? Thrice. Every time, try to look at the problem differently. Try to draw a different diagram. I know it takes time. That's okay. I know this process takes time. That's okay. It is better to spend some time on this than just seeing the answer. Seeing the answer never helps, especially at this point of your preparation. This is not the time to see the answer. It's the time to struggle with the questions. Again, I've put 3 stars here because this is the most common preparation mistake. Now, even after 3 attempts, if you are not getting the answer, that's okay. Check out the solution, debug your approach. Check out the solution. Probably you've never seen a problem like this or you're still struggling. That's okay. We all struggle through problems. I get stuck in machine learning problems or gate problems every now and then. Happens to everyone. That's okay. After you give it 2 or 3 attempts, try and give 3 attempts if possible. Check the solution and go into the debug mode. Why couldn't you solve it? Is it something completely new and completely unheard of for you? Or is it something that you made a silly mistake or whatever it is? Debug. And whatever your debugging is, make a note of it. Okay. So another thing that you can do here is whatever problems you could not tackle first time. Okay, so by which I mean, suppose you're going through this 3 times attempting, right? Suppose there is, let's say, problem 1 or 2, right? You tried to tackle it thrice, you couldn't get it. You saw the solution. Cool. Don't try to remember the solution by heart. This is not that, you don't build the skill by memorizing solutions. So make a note of this problem 1 or 2. Just make a note. Come back to this problem after a few weeks and re-tackle it, because then whatever solution you have seen, probably you've forgotten that solution. Now you're giving it a fresh set of eyes. You're looking at it from a fresh perspective. Most importantly, do not memorize the solution or memorize something and you throw it out onto the answer sheet the next day. No, GATE is not that exam. Most competitive exams are not like that. Do not memorize the solution. Understand the approach through your debugging. That is very, 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 very important. Like I cannot put enough veries there. Okay, equally importantly, solve as many problems as possible. Now here, some people get into this catch-22 situation, which is, you're saying solve as many problems as possible, but you're saying solve the problem thrice. What should I do? Struggling with the question is the only way you will build the problem solving skill. There is no escaping that. So struggle with the question. Okay, this is more important when we are slightly about 9 to 10 months away from the exam. As you come closer to the exam, you can always solve more problems. That's why in our course structure itself, after you go through some videos, we don't have too many problems. We have only a few problems in our practice test after you cover these concepts. These problems should help you build this problem solving muscle. That's why these problems are not trivial or easy. They're typically given to be medium, because we want you to struggle with these questions. It's okay. It's okay. Let them take time. That's perfectly okay. So if you want a simple rule of thumb, during your learning phase, when you're learning the concepts, spend 1/3 of your time in solving problems, as many problems as you can. Okay. And please spend this time struggling with the answer, not seeing the answers. Seeing the answers never help. It is the struggle, the process of solving that helps. So simple rule book. Okay. When you're doing the first revision, once you finish all the subjects, once you're doing the first revision, again, we strongly recommend you do revision through problem solving. In your revision, in your first revision, 2/3 of your time should go into solving problems, 1/3 into reading your notes. When you do your second or third revision, only 10% of your time should go into actually revising from your notes. More than 90% should go into solving problems. When we come into your second revision, or maybe even your first revision, here the quantity of questions, the number of questions will matter here. But in the learning phase, if you have struggled with the questions, if you have built the problem solving skills, you can easily solve a few thousand questions in your first and second revision. You can easily solve it. Okay, so please don't confuse point 5 and point 6. Solve as many problems as possible, but with the struggle, not seeing the solutions. I cannot emphasize this more. Okay, so here is a very simple diagram that I've drawn just to crystallize my own thoughts. Solve as many problems does not imply, this is your logic, right? It does not imply seeing the solution, because seeing the solution does not imply that you are building your problem solving skills. Solve as many problems means struggling, the process of struggle to solve the problems. The three attempt approach. Okay, we can call that the 3 attempt approach. Because when you start struggling to solve the problems, only then you are building your problem solving skills. Okay, very simple. Again, here also, I mean, I think instinctively I try to draw diagrams like this, because that's the only way I can crystallize thoughts in my head. And I've built this over decades now. It's not something that I've learned overnight. Okay. Equally importantly, please do not get demotivated. Again, I think along with persistence, consistency, patience is very important. That's why I told you at the very beginning. Don't get demotivated. We have had students who got less than 30 marks or 30% marks in practice tests that we have in the course, who got into top 300, even top 100 ranks with 6 to 8 months of preparation. 6 months of, some of them even just with 6 months of preparation. And remember, you don't have to get all the 100 out of 100 marks in GATE. Like last year, roughly about 62 to 64 marks is what you needed to get into less than 300 rank. Like 2/3 marks, right? Approximately 2/3. So if you got 2/3 of the questions right, you're getting less than 300 rank, which means you'll get into most of the top IITs, IISc, etc. Right? Remember, very importantly, all the toppers in the last decade or so have gone through this stage. You're not different, you're not unique. Everybody who does well in GATE have gone through this stage. And we have seen toppers from wide spectrum of colleges, from colleges where there is no faculty to colleges who are already top tier colleges, right? Like NITs, like BITS, etc. Right? It doesn't matter. What matters is your efficient and persistent effort without getting demotivated. Everybody goes through a rough patch. Literally, GATE preparation is an emotional roller coaster. One day you'll think you're going to become a GATE topper. Next day you'll think I may not even get qualified for GATE. That happens to all of us. It happened to me as a student. It will happen to 99% of you. There might be 1% like godlike people, but for 99% of you, we all will go through this stage. So don't get demotivated and give up. Okay, so this is the summary. Just wanted to summarize all the 7 points in a single page. Read questions and options carefully. Draw diagrams and tables. Work backwards for equations and expressions. Debug your mistake. Struggle with the problems. Don't see the solution. solve as many as possible. Do not get demotivated. Remember, this list is not an exhaustive list. This is just the most often suggested methods that we recommend our students. Okay. Again, we will keep coming back to how to build problem solving skills in the future live sessions when we have interactive problem solving. So I think we have next Tuesday, I think, right? We have something about theory of computation, some topics in theory of computation. So when we solve some of those problems, I will show you how to draw diagrams, how to work backwards, how to debug. I'll talk about common mistakes. I'll talk about these 7 points. And if new points get added, I will talk about them when we solve the problems. Because it's not just about telling you the solution. Remember, these interactive problem solving sessions are not just about telling the solution. Because if it's all about telling the solution, there are thousands of websites, there are thousands of questions with answers already. It is about teaching the problem solving skill. That's what we will try and focus on. Of course, we'll try to solve about 7 to 8 problems. But while solving them, the important focus will always be these 7 points and more additional points that might come up, which are very subject specific. Okay, sounds good. So let's go into a Q&A. Again, we have been getting a lot of questions about gate plus placement prep. So if you have some of those questions, feel free to ask in the chat window. I've taken exactly 42 minutes. So we'll spend some time answering your questions, primarily about our gate course, gate plus placement prep course, and also problem solving in general. Okay. I'll share this whole notes with you in the description section of the video after the session is over. Okay. So let me just open the browser and see the points. Okay, cool. So 1 second. Is everything okay? Okay. So, okay, let me tackle some of these questions, right? What is my favorite subject among GATE subject? That's hard, no? I mean, my favorite subjects have changed over the time. In my BTech, I used to love systems. I used to love COA. I used to love microprocessors. But slowly I went into math. Now math is my favorite subject because I use it every day in machine learning, right? But there is no one subject. It's hard to pin down. Okay. Okay. So let me go into the actual more interesting stuff. So Tarun says, I'm struggling solving problems. Is it good practice to watch problem solving and understand from that? That's perfectly all right, Tarun. See, after you learn a bunch of concepts, right? Almost for every concept, almost for every chunk of concepts in our course videos, we have solved problems, right? Go through the solved problems where we explain step by step how to solve it, right? Again, while you're seeing the solution, think how you would solve also. In some of these videos, I also say, hey, please pause the video here, try to solve it on your own. We are not expecting you to solve it there and then, okay? Just to build your problem solving ability. Watch those videos, perfectly all right. Then you have the practice questions, go tackle them then, right? So that's a better thing. So this is by, okay, so this is Kaushik, very nice question. I've seen good questions from Kaushik in the past also, which is how to manage gate and coding. Again, it's about allocating time and resources to it. So my suggestion, if you're doing both of them simultaneously, since we have ample time ahead of us, try and do probably mornings learning concepts, evenings coding practice. Okay, try and balance that out. Right now, you can afford to give more time to coding practice and all of that. Again, remember, coding practice is not bad. It will help you build the problem solving skills because that is fundamental, right? Say, suppose imagine you have a problem which requires you to code up some graph theory algorithm to solve some problem, right? Typical comparative programming style stuff. That builds the problem solving skill, which is fundamental, which is, I told you, right? Problem solving is a transferable skill. That's why every university, every company tests for problem solving skills in the context of something, right? GATE tests problem solving skills in the context of computer science. So, top product based companies are testing for problem solving skills in the context of data structures, algorithms, little syllabus, harder problems or medium level problems. So try and allocate your time. At this point, probably you can spend 50-50 because we are still about 9 to 10 months away from the GATE exam itself. Slowly, you can decrease the time that you're spending for coding and increase the time for GATE slowly over the next 8 months or so, 8 to 9 months. last 1.5 months, you can fully focus on Gate itself. But don't think that the effort that you're putting in doing some of the coding stuff is useless. It is still practice for building the fundamental problem solving skill. Even when you're solving coding problems, don't see the solution, struggle with it. I mean, there is nothing better than struggling through the solution, because it will give you immense satisfaction. Most important, it will build you the skill to think. Okay, cool. Okay, so this is Sai. He says, after attempting a question for 3 times or number of times, instead of checking the solution, is it advisable to revise? Yes. So suppose you have tried it 3 times and you're still not getting it. You don't know what you're lacking, right? Till the time you see the solution. So try it thrice, the 3 attempt approach. If you still don't get it, see the solution. But sit down. Don't just see the solution and run away from that. Sit for a few minutes, maybe 5 to 10 minutes, and ask yourself this question. What am I missing? Why couldn't I solve it? That's the debugging process. Just like debugging code, you're trying to debug what you're lacking. Okay, so that process of debugging itself is very important, but you may not be able to debug till the time you see the solution because you don't know what you're lacking. Okay. How to improve consistency? This is Pratik. Pratik, exactly to answer this question, let me show you. There is actually a video on our YouTube channel. I'll just start sharing my screen. Yeah, I think I should keep our channel open next time. 1 second. Applied Gate, how to be persistent. It's there on our channel. Yes, how to be consistent in your Gate prep. We give you concrete steps. Like, we don't want to just do some hand waving jugaad stuff. Okay, that's not what we plan to do or intend to do. That's completely against our core ethos. So here we give you concrete steps on how to be consistent and persistent in your Gate prep. Most of the lessons are from a very interesting book called The Power of Habit. Right, very nice book. It's been highly impactful for not just me but many of my teammates. Right, so please check this video where we describe about concrete steps to do it. That will help you immensely. Cool. Okay, back to our discussion here. So Sagar, is it possible, please do a motivation session in the end? There is a very nice quotation, I think by Elon Musk, if I'm not wrong, who says all motivation is short-lived. It's only internal motivation which will stay for the long run. If you need external motivation from people like me, I think you'll not. There is a very low probability that you'll stick the whole 9 to 10 months for Gate prep. Define it internally, right? Define what you want. It could be money, it could be status, it could be good rank, it could be good university, good education, good professors, it could be good compensation, whatever it is. You need to define. Everybody has different metrics. I've talked to some students who say, hey, this will give me better matches, right? I mean, these are people who are working professionals who are planning to get married in the next 4 to 5 years. Nothing wrong with it. It's a fundamental human need, right? So whatever is a high priority for you, make that your internal motivation. Whatever I tell you, right, it will be there today. Tomorrow morning you'll sleep. You don't want to wake up again at 5 o'clock or 7 o'clock in the morning. All external motivation is short-lived, guys. It's like a marijuana shot. It will give you a high spike immediately, but it will go down, right? You don't become you don't have impactful stuff through short-lived motivation. Define it internally yourself. So what is Applied Roots Coding Track channel for? Ayush, we are designing a new program called Applied Roots Coding Track. It's still under construction. As soon as we have something ready, we'll let you know. It's a slightly different program. It's not like the regular placement prep that is part of Gate. It's a slightly different program, mostly targeted towards working professionals and also undergraduate students who are looking for top product-based companies. It's still being designed right now. We still don't have it ready. As soon as we have something, we'll surely inform everybody through this channel also. Is doing COA first better or last? I would say do it last, because again, Akash, there are multiple reasons for it. Again, please check out this video called on our channel. I think it's called How to Score 55 Plus Marks in Gate, CSE 2022. where we give you a justification on the order of subjects based on how easy is it to score more marks in these subjects. And I think COA is there at the very end, if I'm not wrong, in that list. Okay, so please check that video on our YouTube channel. It's there. So Abhishek says, should we stick to the personalized schedule or the live session schedule? Anything is all right. I think the personalized schedule tries to go slightly faster than the live session schedule, but the order of subjects is the same in both. Right? For the live sessions, if you've already completed a subject, just revise that the day before or in the morning, because it's typically Tuesday evenings, right? 7 to 9 p.m. So please revise it that day or the day before, and you can tackle them. I think the personalized schedule that we give is faster, but the order of the subjects will be very similar, unless you're a second year or a second year student especially. Okay, cool. Ashutosh, very nice question. Is it okay to skip undecidability topic for now? That's a very interesting question. If you find it too overwhelming, it's okay. Again, when I say keep coming back to the questions, etc., there would be one odd concept or 2-3 concepts in the whole gate prep which will be like overwhelming. And I think undecidability is probably the most beautiful and also the slightly, hatke se, as they call it in Hindi, right? Or slightly tricky, slightly out of the norm, right? Slightly out of the norm concept, slightly tricky to get in. It's okay to leave it. If you're not getting it now, it's okay. Come back to it next time. After you gain some maturity of understanding, come back to it after a month. Because from undecidability, you get 1 mark, maybe 2 marks. That's okay. All you have to target for is, if you get 2/3 of the marks, which is 60 plus marks, you're in a very good zone. Okay, you're in a very good zone. Most likely you'll get, if you get 65 plus, most likely you'll get under 300 ranks, right? Again, Tarun says, how to improve in maths? Maths is no different from any of these subjects, right? It's the same thing. Again, in maths, a lot of people, this is a very common thing that I see, especially in engineering maths, parts of discrete math also. People just remember formulae. Okay, they just remember formulae. Don't do that. That's why if you see a lot of combinatorics, probability, even linear algebra, a lot of these topics, when I try to explain the concept in the course videos and when my team wrote the notes for them, we tried to imbibe not remembering formulae but deriving them from first principles. You can derive actually a lot of permutations, combinations, even Bayes' theorem. You don't have to remember it. You can arrive at it in just 30 seconds. You can arrive at the equation. Lot of graph properties, right? Lot of graph counting problems. You can arrive at them very, very easily. Of course, there are some properties that you have to remember. There is no doubt about it. But a lot of these things, you don't have to remember them by heart. You can arrive at them or derive them from basic principles or from somewhere in between steps. You can derive them. Like, I don't remember most of the formulas in GATE. Like, I hardly remember any, to be honest with you. Like, you'll see this even in computer networks, right? Computer networks is the hardest subject. Some of the topics of computer networks are some of the hardest for me because I'm terrible at remembering things. I never remember the structure of the packets, whether it's a UDP packet, TCP packet, IP packet. I never remember the structure because I'm really, really bad. So I always try to come up with mnemonics to remember it. Okay, some simple memory tricks. Similarly, I think in TOC there are all these properties of various languages, right? We talk about some simple mnemonics or memory tricks to remember these properties because you can't derive these properties in the examination. It's much harder to derive it, right? So, cool. That's what I would recommend. So, math is no different. It's the same thing. Again, a very good idea. I think I missed that earlier, which is don't remember things. Remember how things are arrived at. Okay. That's how even undecidability will become very, very easy. Okay, cool. So Ayush says how to upgrade from the GATE course and have the placement prep as an add-on. Ayush, just reach out on the phone numbers on our website. Our team will create. We'll explain you how to do that. Okay. So just reach out to us over phone or email. Anything would do. When would the test series be started? I think I mentioned this last time, right? June, I think, is a good time to start the test series. Again, 2021 test series is already there in the course. All the live sessions that we have done in 2021, they all are there in the course already. So people who are joining now, they'll get 2021 live sessions and 2022 live sessions, right? So similarly, 2021 test series is already there. That's about some 2,500 to 3,000 questions, roughly, give or take. 2022 test series will be ready from June. We'll make an announcement on the channel. How to manage test series and applied AI course? I mean, it's the same thing, right? So that's what we recommend often. When you're going through the subject once, do the practice tests. At the end of it, you have a subject test, do it. Once you do all of it, you can start. I mean, you have the GATE 2021 test series also. You can take subject tests from GATE 2021 also. And from June or later, as part of your revision, you can take the GATE 2022 test series. Right? Again, try to use a lot of these test series and practice problems, not practice problems, even practice problems actually, as a revision. Revision through practice is the best model. So that's why after you learn, let's say 10 hours of content in a week, you have a practice test. It's one form of revision for you. After you finish a whole subject, maybe 2-3 weeks, you have a subject test because that's a revision for you. Once you do 2 or 3 subjects, you have multi-subject tests. That is a form of revision. And you have mock tests, grand tests in the last 3-4 months. Those are all revisions, right? Revision through practice is the best thing, and test series incorporates that as a core philosophy. So this is by Jyoti Sai. He says, it's been 5 months since I've touched the GATE subjects. I got 5,000 plus rank in 2021. What should be my strategy? Since I have a job now. Good. So Jyoti Sai, I think, yes. My suggestion to you is this. First, make a list of all the topics and subjects that you're not comfortable with. Finish them first. Since you're working professional enough, try to allocate 2 to 3 hours, preferably in the morning, because you're more fresher then, right? First, focus on topics and subjects that you are lacking. Start taking the tests. You'll start seeing that you're going from the 5,000 rank window to the under 1,000 rank window. Then come back to the subjects which you are confident about. So that's a better stream of things. And as working professional, because you already prepared once for GATE and you got a not so good rank, but a decent rank, 5,000 plus, you know the basics basically. That's what it means, right? You know some of the basics, just build the rest of them, and you can easily push yourself into the below 300 rank this year. Okay, so, okay. I mean, it's overwhelming to see so many questions. I'll try and answer randomly whatever I can, right? So Vikas says, I have no practical skills in CS. Is it difficult for me in MTech? Not so much, unfortunately. I mean, to tell you the truth, most MTech programs in India, I'm not talking about the world, I'm talking about India, their coursework is still very theoretical. I mean, this is a fact. I mean, let's not brush that under the rug. That's the reality of it, right? Like you go to the top universities, go to IIT Bombay, go to Indian Institute of Science, look at their coursework. Most of it is still theoretical. Okay, I learned a lot of practical stuff, not at IIT or not at IISc, but in the industry. I mean, I'm very open about it. I talked to Professor Chiranjeev, who is the chairman of the computer science department, who was my advisor, and I tell him that what IISc taught me is the mathematical rigor. Like I became very, very comfortable with math at IISc. You throw any mathematics at me, I can read it, I can understand it. But I still did not learn so much practical stuff. Practical stuff I actually learned in the industry. But thankfully, the universities are also slowly changing. Like I know at Indian Institute of Science, they're starting new boot camps, new programs right now to have industry folks come and tell students about real world applications. I know Professor Chiranjeev at IISc who's doing some of this. So slowly that's changing, very similar to what would happen at Stanford or Berkeley or MIT and these universities. But if you don't have too strong practical skills, you can still learn them during your MTech or beyond that. Don't worry about it. Okay, so what is this? What is this question? Somebody says, please take the question of somebody. What is that question? Okay, if a lot of people are asking for it, I might as well answer it. I don't see that question anywhere. Anyway, so I'll just keep moving forward. Okay. Very nice. So Jatin, very nice question. I really like it. How to measure that you're not overdoing a subject? Very, very nice. Very nice question. We thought we'll do a live session on the time management part. We will cover that again in that. But in a nutshell, it is all about 2 weeks to 4 weeks. If you're spending more than 4 weeks on any subject, you're doing something incorrectly. Maximum should be 4 weeks. Ideally 2 to 3 weeks. 4 weeks only for the large subjects which take time. For example, if you're doing whole of theory of computation and compiler design, that could take 4 weeks together because they're very related subjects, right? But typically 2 to 3 weeks is the sweet spot. Beyond that, if you're spending time, you're doing something incorrectly. Okay. Again, folks, I'm very sorry. It's impossible for me to answer all the questions because we have tons of hundreds of people who are asking questions. My team is also trying to give these answers via the chat window. I'll try to answer as many as possible. Okay. How to start picking the questions to solve, because all questions don't seem to be the same, especially MSQs. That's okay. Trojan, this is by somebody whose alias is Trojan. Reminds me of viruses. But anyway, so my suggestion to you is, if you're a course enrolled student, you already have it, right? You have it in a very structured fashion, topic wise, subject wise, all of that stuff. And if you're not a course enrolled student, just go to PYQs. Previous year questions will cover the whole breadth that you need. That's the best way. Okay, cool. So Manish has a question, very relevant. His gate rank is 217. He's saying, is it a good choice to go to IIT Hyderabad over IIT Kanpur or Roorkee? Kanpur is pretty good. I would, again, Hyderabad is a younger institution, but growing rapidly. It has been doing very, very well. Their course structure, their academic structure, it's very, very nice. I really like, I'm not saying because I'm from Hyderabad. I've seen some of the students from IIT Hyderabad. I've even hired some of the early batches of IIT Hyderabad when I was at Amazon. So I've seen some really, really smart students from there because of the course structure. It's not about their IIT rank. It's about the course structure and the rigor they've gone through. So it's a hard call between IITH and IITK. But if I were to pick, I would still pick Kanpur. Fundamentally because Kanpur is an older institute, and the types of placements that you get at Kanpur are very similar to Hyderabad. And if you are very specific about algorithms, Kanpur has a very strong algorithms faculty and research. So those are some of the advantages that I have with Kanpur over Hyderabad. But you're not doing anything wrong if you join IIT Hyderabad also, because the placements are very, very comparable to Kanpur or any other top IIT or IISc. Okay. Okay, Abhishek says, I'm 2018 pass out, currently at TCS. I have not done well. I don't want to use the word there, but I have not done well in GATE twice. Is it a good idea to prepare again, or should I go for technical learning skills? Abhishek, you should ask yourself a very fundamental question. Why didn't you do well in the last 2 years? Is it because you have not put in the effort, or you have not, again, the fact that you already joined TCS means that you have the basic CS skills, basic problem solving skills. I still don't know why you could not crack. Most likely it is because you did not put in the required effort in a systematic fashion. If you are still confident that I have put in this effort for the last 2 years, and if I just do this extra this year, I can crack GATE, then surely go for GATE. But if you think that I'm not ready to put in these 1,000 hours of effort, I might as well learn something else, then learn some other skill. It's all about your priorities. Simple. So we have seen people who have written GATE 3 times, 4 times and cracked it eventually because they've corrected the mistakes from the earlier years. And we have seen students who say, this is not for me, I want to do something else. So there is no one answer to your question. It depends a lot on your own introspection and answering the question yourself internally. Again, if you want, you can call us. One of our mentors can help you based on your specific situation. Okay. So Nikhil says there are few questions. Nikhil, we have close to about 3,000 questions now. 3,500 questions now already in the course. We will be adding another 2,500, roughly about 2,500 from June onwards. 6,000 questions is more than sufficient. Like, it's more than sufficient by any measure. Okay. PYQs is another set which we don't count in this 6,000, right? So if you even do that, you can go PYQs almost up to early 2000 or so. That's another few thousand questions. That's more than sufficient. Again, it's not about the volume of questions. It's about the struggle that you put in to solve the questions. Suppose if you've solved these 3,500 questions that we already have now, if you're able to solve all of them, come on, you're going to be rank 1 to rank 10 next year. I mean, there's nothing that's stopping you. So it is not just the volume or the number or the quantity of questions, it is the process through which you solve that is equally important. That's why I've made it very, very clear. The struggle of solving is actually as important, actually I would say more important at this stage of preparation than the volume of questions. Okay. Cool. Again, somebody is asking, what is the difference between an MTech versus an MS? Again, an MS in India, there are very few universities which offer an MS, but there isn't much of a difference, to be honest. An MTech or an MS, there isn't much of a difference. If you're talking about US universities, that's a different ballgame. Getting into top IITs or top IISc or all the top universities would be equivalent to doing your MS from a top 50 university in the US. Equivalent to, not same, but equivalent to, in terms of career opportunities, in terms of your learning experience, etc. This is Diobrat, who says, very interesting name. I'm a third year student. I could not qualify for GATE with 5 months preparation. Can I get a top rank next year? It depends on you. you have the court in front of you to play. I mean, the ball is in your court. You put in effort. I mean, because you're a student, you have much more time to put in, right? And try to put in at least 4 hours a day. Be consistent, persistent. There is nothing that's stopping you from getting a good rank. Again, I will never tell somebody that you'll get GATE rank 1. That's like a joke. Okay. Again, getting a GATE rank 1 versus 2 versus 3, it might be a small mistake that you've done in the exam. I know this personally. I've been there. Okay. The difference between GATE rank 2 and GATE rank 1 in my time was one mistake, 0.25 marks. Okay. So we know, like, if I've not done that mistake, probably I would have been GATE 1. I've done that mistake, so I'm GATE 2. And somebody who did 2 more mistakes or probably didn't solve 1 more problem is GATE rank 3. But that guy is superb. He's just finished his PhD from MIT. My batchmate at IISc, who was GATE rank 3. So between GATE 1, 2, 3, there is not much difference. So I will never tell anybody that you'll get GATE rank 1 because it's foolish. Because one small mistake in the examination can throw you off, can throw you from GATE 1 to GATE 10 or GATE 5 or GATE 6. The objective is, can you get in the top 300 ranks or maybe top 100 ranks? If you want, surely I want to go to only IISc, top 100 ranks. I want to go to good IITs, top 300 ranks is good enough. Okay. So you can get it, by the way. So Praveen has a very nice question. I'm in a BTech final year. I got AR 637. Can I prefer IIIT Bangalore over NIT Surat? I think NIT S you mean Surat. NIT Surathkal. By S do you mean Surathkal? NIT Surathkal is called NIT K. So is it NIT Surat or NIT Surathkal? Because I think there is an NIT in Surat also in Gujarat. So if it's between IIIT Bangalore and NIT Surat, I would go for IIIT Bangalore. If it is between IIIT Bangalore and NIT Surathkal, okay. So let me see. Okay, if it's Surathkal, both are equally good. Surathkal has a very strong CS program, especially CS, they're very, very good. So between NIT Surathkal, IIIT Bangalore, both are equally good. IIIT Bangalore also has improved significantly over the last 5 years or so. If it is NIT Surat versus IIIT Bangalore, I would choose IIIT Bangalore because of their stronger placement track record and also better curriculum in general. So this is a very nice question. Somebody, I think Manoj says, is it okay to be few days behind the provided schedule? It's okay. The provided schedule is like an ideal scenario. Even if you're a few days here and there, just adjust the schedule accordingly. Just make sure if you're back by 3 days, 4 days, it's okay. Push the whole schedule. Just make sure that you're finishing your preparation in a reasonable time. Again, even if you finish your first preparation by November also, it's okay. But do it thoroughly. No shortcuts, enough practice. The struggle of problem solving matters. Like you might have seen this from a lot of toppers interviews, right? There are people who finished their syllabus, the first iteration of the syllabus in January, but they've done it so well, especially focusing on problem solving, the struggle part, that one more iteration, one more revision, they got through. Okay, cool. Okay, so Praveen says, again, just to answer the previous question, by NITs you mean NIT, all the NITs. So IIIT Bangalore versus NIT Surathkal, it's a slightly hard choice. Both of them are good. You can pick any one of them, whichever works better for you. Right? I think IIIT Bangalore, I don't know about the fee structure, but both of them are good. Surathkal is terrific. Their CS program is very good. Right? So you're not doing anything wrong. We've had some students who got slightly larger ranks who have joined NIT. We've joined some of these NITs, Trichy or Surathkal, and gone into top product based companies. So it doesn't matter. Okay. So will I miss anything if I choose IIT B versus IISc? No, don't worry. IISc has a more research focus. If you're considering a PhD at any point, IISc is a better institute. But if all you care about is placements after your MTech, both of them are good. Doesn't matter. Okay, sounds good. So somebody is asking how to do competitive programming and gate parallelly. I've answered this question a while ago. This video will be available after the session. Please check it out. Okay. Okay, folks, I think we have spent about 35 odd minutes, about 30 minutes or so answering the questions. Again, please understand that it's almost impossible to answer all the questions because it's a flood, right? And there are a few hundred people, I think 350 or so people who are attending this live. So it's impossible to answer all the questions. But the most important thing, two things I want you to take away. One, please focus on building the problem solving skills. I will share the notes in the description section of this video after this session. Number one. Number two, stay safe. I mean, please try to impose a self lockdown. I cannot emphasize this enough. Very, very important. Okay. So please do that and stay safe. Thank you very much.